We're live.
I hear music somewhere. Is it yours or his,
That's
Matt?
my music. Let me turn it
Oh,
down.
okay. I mean, it's okay. Dr. Love is now live.
Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. However,
Let's go.
everyone, good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to the Doctor of Love Friday night show. So glad to have you with us tonight. I am Linda Streeter, Stephen's co-host. And as you know, a little bit about myself is I am an author, coach, counselor, mentor, all those great things. The person who has a passion for relationships and hope that we can give you some information tonight that's going to take you to that next level. And along with me, Stephen is having some technical difficulties, you guys, so he'll be back. But at any rate, along with me is the one and only Red Wine.
Red Wine, Matt Dorset, aka Red Wine. Wishing you love and prosperity and healthy relationships. We're gonna have a great show tonight. We're gonna keep it grown and sexy. Of course, I brought my red wine. Hopefully, you brought yours too. And so, as we wait on Stephen with technical difficulty, let's get this thing rolling. Linda, what do you got for us this
All
tonight?
right. Well, I'm kind of with you guys. I know you've been the post that went out earlier this week was that our topic or should I say our discussion would be on platonic relationships. Now, there was no particular angle that you guys talked about, from you can tell me if that is the case. But from what I understand platonic relationships to be is that those are close friendship relationships excluding any sexual or intimacy in the relationships.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I don't know if we're trying to understand if platonic relationships are healthy or what exactly is it we want people to know. Hi, Cheryl. Nice to see you tonight. Thank you so very much. Good evening. What are we talking about? Let's just talk first about some benefits to platonic relationships. What would be a benefit of having you as a friend, Matt?
Well, I think the benefits would be number one, I know how to be a friend. And secondly, you know, the networking, um, the uh, the union, the ability to bounce ideas off one another. So, I mean, you the benefits are all there, minus intimacy.
Okay. Okay. So it sounds good. And who's joined us down there? I can't
Is
see
that
the
Doug
names.
Holly? I think that's Doug Holly.
Hi, Doug. Would you like to introduce yourself since you're joining us tonight?
Hey, better known as Smooth. I
Uh,
just here on a Friday participating. It was an interesting topic that I received the email that you're having this evening. So I'd like to hear more about it.
okay. So what I want to do first is just talk a little bit. I'm looking at my screen as well on my computer, but let's define first what a platonic relationship is. So a platonic relationship is shared between two people who share a close bond but do not have a sexual or romantic relationship. The word platonic means the absence of romance, meaning you may have a platonic friendship with close friends, a sibling, coworker, or a boss, or even a neighbor of the opposite sex, or same sex. Having more platonic relationships say a lot about the people who are engaged in such a relationship. Platonic relationships are healthy and are heart centered, and society could definitely use some of that. So I'm not
Says
sure
who?
what.
Says who? Why does society need some of that?
Well, because look at the strain that are on relationships currently. I think there's always this misunderstanding that if a guy sometimes is being nice or just want to be helpful, be a friend, sometimes, or likewise, it could be even vice versa. Sometimes there's a misunderstanding of a person's kindness, whereby they just want to be a friend, and someone else may have a sexual attraction. And that would probably be the downfall of it. But when we are trying to engage in a romantic relationship, there is a tendency to not be authentic, or to hide who you are, or not disclose how you really feel. But it's something about when we're just good friends, that we're just naturally who we are, and with no drawbacks to that. So I think society could use that, and I believe that use platonic friendship. And I believe if we were to endeavor to have more platonic relationships, I think we'll be more open and honest with one another, especially of the opposite sex. Okay, so now you guys may comment. That was my little piece on that.
Am I on?
There you go. I can hear
There
you,
you go.
Stephen.
There you
Welcome.
go.
I had to switch computers, man. Mine went on the blink. Remember what it did last time? It wouldn't give me the sound, and then the video was gonna go out. So I had to jump on my wife's computer. So I'm on it. So go ahead.
Well,
I wasn't listening. Go ahead.
you guys are quiet. I think we want to hear, the ladies want to hear your feedback on having a platonic
Well,
relationship.
I think platonic relationships are very healthy. I think they're good for a lot of guys. In particular, getting a woman's opinion, having a woman's opinion, and I think also not having to be concerned about the romantic side. I think it eliminates a lot of roadblocks or obstacles in that relationship that you would normally have in a romantic relationship. So some of the obstacles that are there is, you can talk openly and, not be concerned about, fulfilling the romantic portion of the relationship.
Yeah.
I would concur with you, Red Wine. It's safe, no stress, just pretty much being friends. In this day and age, you need good friends, not so much a romance. Me personally, I always wanted to be in a friend. I wouldn't want it to be from a friend to romance. It wouldn't be the same.
But don't they say you should marry your best friend?
Yes.
Best friend makes the best.
I mean, that's how I grew up. I've always learned that you should marry your best friend, because your best friend is always going to be your best friend until they're not your best friend. So if you don't marry your best friend, who are you going to marry?
So when do they stop being your best friend?
Yeah, Stephen.
Maybe
When you involve
maybe
romance.
when you start looking at them a little bit differently and see all the other women or whoever you're dating is not working. If that's not working out, and something might spark your mind and be like, God dang, she my best friend does kind of good. Well, it kind of almost happened to me once before in high school. This chick, she was a good friend, and man, I used to like her a lot, man. She was fine, but I never approached her because I was kind of shy. And we hung out all the time. It was like 4 or 5 of us, but I never approached her. But then years went by. Then she started liking me, but I was going out with somebody else, and I didn't know she was liking me. So when we grew older, we went back and we started talking. She said, I was in love with you during this time of the year. And I said, man, I was in love with you like 3 years before that. So, but we never hooked up. But it happens like that. But I have guy friends. I want to say like Red Wine. Some guys cannot have female friends without having sex with them. Some guys can't do it. You know, so that's what's kind of this conversation.
So, do you think that becomes a challenge then, of a female trying to balance that friendship?
Linda, you have two units. You got a feedback.
It wasn't until a moment ago. Second, go further away from me and see, because it wasn't on earlier.
They can hit mute. If they hit mute, it'll be okay. Tell them to hit mute.
She's on mute, she says.
Or is that me?
It wasn't doing it at first.
You guys hear the feedback?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear it.
All right, that sounds better, Linda.
But no, I still hear it, but it's not mine. It can't be me because I'm only on one. Yeah, I don't know where it's coming from. It wasn't there a moment ago.
Let me see if take his computer in there. Take his computer in there. Yeah, because I hear it could be mine logged in the computer.
So, Doug, can you check yours to see if it's from you?
Yeah, mine's is fine.
Mine is fine.
It's only me. Nothing around me.
Okay. I don't understand. I don't know what happened.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, but what we're saying, they said, marry your best friend and so forth. But you always want to be the best. It may change down the road. And I've seen friends of mine that were real close, and all of a sudden they get married, and all of a sudden they're no longer together. They're enemies. Can't stand one another because they know each other very well. Disclosing private moments or sharing private moments, and it backfires. I would say friends be friends. I wouldn't want me personally, like I said, I wouldn't want a relationship. It's always good to have opposite sex of a relationship to understand. And the truthful friend will always tell you about yourself, That's why they're good friends.
Right.
I think some relationships, I think they don't understand that sometimes you're better off as friends. And I think when you start from young and your parents, when they see you going through kind of tumultuous, I think that they tell you that, hey, sometimes you guys are better as friends. It's not anybody's fault. You guys are probably just better as friends.
Right.
And that's a situation that occurs a lot.
And like you say, one may like one may like the other person may not like him. Also looking as a brother or sister, as friends, instead of going a little further than that. No, I look at you as a friend. I mean, a sister or brother. We ain't going that route.
Yeah.
And then really, especially when from high school and you go up to college, you still keep a relationship, but somebody else is dating them and blase. Even today, now, so always have a good friend that you can just, throw things at them and bounce back at you to see how they respond or whatever's going on in your mind. And I have a lot of platonic female friends from actually one of my closest ones is from kindergarten. That we real to this day. Yeah, we're real close. She's got a lovely husband, 4 beautiful children. We're still tight to this day.
That is cool. So your wife, spouse, doesn't care about having a female, your best friend female. You can answer. Red wine.
Say that again.
How would your girl or your wife feel about, even though you guys don't have, how would they feel about you having a best friend?
Well, it's tough to say how my mate would feel, but I can only understand that she would probably feel like I'm a little bit uncomfortable with her being around and her knowing you better, possibly better than I do. Are you having shared emotional time or moments with her? Because I always feel like it's not that the man goes out and cheats sexually. I think it's the emotional connection that bothers people.
Right.
Your
But
mate
other
wants
than
you to have an emotional connection with them only.
Yeah, let me ask you this: wouldn't that help the relationship? Wouldn't that help by your girl or your wife with knowing that you're someone that knows you better than her, knowing that and that they can be good friends and help her along the way to get to know you, so you're not some of your things that you like and don't like. Wouldn't that help along the way? Wouldn't that benefit your girl?
It could. It could benefit, but it could also backfire.
Well, why would it backfire if this young lady she's into you and trying to learn more about you, unless she has a jealous spirit, then that's a problem by itself.
Well, here's the thing: you can never control how a person feels. They have a right to feel the way they feel. And only thing you can do is control yourself and manage yourself. I think that when you have to start managing a situation, I think that is best to eliminate the stimulus that's creating the issue.
1 second. Red Wine, I think that's your, I think you have another something else on.
No, I have nothing.
How about 1 by 1 week, each person mute their phones in the stop? Okay, so I'll mute first.
I can mute you. I'll work. But you just went off. Wait a minute. Go ahead. All right. Are we on there? Let me see. Doug. Oh, yeah.
It's Doug. It's
you,
Doug.
Doug.
What you mean is me?
Yeah. You have two. You have two things on.
I don't know about that now.
Let's see how we sound.
Normal.
It's Doug. I just
Yeah, for some reason when you come on, Doug, the feedback starts.
Yeah. Do you have your phone and your computer?
Well, we'll have to get your quotes in the comments this time.
I know, right? What's off? Well, he put himself on mute. So,
perfect.
Wouldn't you think that jealousy would set in somewhere because you telling your spouse, will you be telling your spouse, I mean your best friend, more than what you tell your spouse?
Yeah, your spouse would have an issue with that.
Big time, because there's some things you can tell your best friend that you can't tell your spouse, or things that you have to keep from your spouse. You know what I'm saying? Because how's the saying go? You lie to the one you love. You know what I'm saying? Your best friend, you can tell anything, but you lie, to make your relationship to the spouse.
Well, a platonic friend does not have to be a best friend. I can't imagine being married and some other male is my best friend over my spouse. That's already out of alignment. That's going to create problems for everyone, because I think that bond where you can share anything should first exist with your spouse.
I agree.
You don't talk to an opposite sex friend about issues with you and your partner.
You ain't gonna have that partner long.
That's a no-no.
Yeah, that's a big problem. So I wouldn't classify a platonic friend as a best friend, but a friend, you know.
Yeah,
And
important is not normal.
I think there has to be like clear boundaries in friendships, even with or without a mate. There should be some boundaries, in terms of how close yourself will get. Look at it this way: when you start sharing deep secrets or intimate information about yourself, that deepens the relationship with the person that you're involved with, that you're
I
talking
agree.
to. Okay, so a platonic relationship, I think, has layers to the friendship too, as to how close they are to you and how much information you can release. I just think that there are some things, you know, I don't have my example before me, but anyways, I don't know if that makes sense to you guys or not.
No, it makes plenty of sense, because it's just like somebody was telling me about, when women have sexual partners, right? So they were saying that their grandmother would say, "You allowing all them spirits into your body or into your life or into your system." And so they would always say, limit your partners. But it works the same way when you have friends that you allow into your space when you have a partner, because that definitely is gonna create a boundary issue with things that you talk about with your partner and the things that you talk about with these friends.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you allow those people into that space, infringing upon what you already have, there's going to be some difficulty there.
Yes, yes, you become divided within your own soul because
Woo-hoo. Speak on it.
because you're having to share your soul with more than one person, and that automatically splits the individual, and you can't put that kind of focus in more than one area. So platonic relationships, I feel, are healthy when they have clear boundaries, that we're truly just friends, and there are some things you just don't tell your friend. And I think if you're in a relationship, your closest friend should be your mate.
Right.
Amen.
Let's go through some of the comments.
Okay. Let's see if I can read some comments here. So for the comments, what do we have here? Okay. Apart from the good evenings, Toy. Oh, Toy wanted to know what justifies when a couple becomes a couple instead of just a sexual relationship. See, that sounds like one of those platonic relationship that turned sexual before they clarified what type of relationship it was going to be.
Right. That's
You
when
see, so that should
communication sets in.
yeah. So now my answer to that, Toy, is that there should not be sex before there's a defining of the relationship. I think the defining of a relationship takes place before sex.
Amen.
Amen. Hey, I want to hear Doug. I want to hear what Doug has to say.
What do you got to say, Doug?
Come off of mute.
Yeah, I agree with you, Linda. You pretty much should get to know the person first before, as Red Wine mentioned, about spirits jumping from one end to the other. But you really get to know the person, spend quality time with them. But as I stated earlier, that's your friend, that's your friend, and I would keep it as friends. Wouldn't take it no further than that.
Exactly. More questions?
Okay.
Fontana said he better be gay.
Well, I think some people be kidding themselves. They say, well, let's just be friends. And I'll admit, you meet this guy, meets girl, and they start out saying, okay, well, we're just going to be friends, kick a little bit, see where things go, And so next thing someone is trying to cross the line of intimacy with a touch, or maybe they start out with the conversation just to kind of feel you out to see how far they can go in that situation. So, to start out that way, and then if you don't have the, clear boundaries as to where it's going, then what do? Most of the time, people ruin great friendships because they didn't have that discussion. And as a result of it, the friendship. Two things that messes up a friendship. Two things: money and sex.
That's the same in any relationship.
That's in any relationship. But here's the issue. The issue I have is that, well, I'm not gonna say it's an issue, but what causes the problem is, as a platonic friend, you start to gain closeness.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happens when you gain that closeness? What do you do with those feelings? So how do you keep that from crossing that boundary?
I think, and Toy's kind of asking the same question. She was asking, Linda, what if your BFF of the opposite sex was in your life before your husband? So I'm going to get to that in a moment, Toy, because that's a really good question. But back to what you just indicated, Matt, is, like, if feelings starts to grow, whatever happened, if feelings are growing, people need to have a conversation where this is going. What, are we, because it's no good for one person. See what happens if you don't have that discussion. One person has in their mind, oh, it just happened. And that's all there was to it. It just happened, one of those things, what we shouldn't have, but we did. And then the other person who's feeling may have grown a little bit more is thinking that, hey, this is a real relationship. Now we've moved past the friendship line, all to be disappointed when the other person is like, no, that's not what this is. So it has to be a conversation. If your feelings are growing, be honest and say, I want more, and not playing those little games like I just want, or just hanging out. You want more. You want more. The other person.
Yeah, but Linda, I think that Tori was saying, if you correct me if I'm wrong, I think she's with a best friend and got feelings, but she got a guy, and I guess the guy has more feelings for her, but she's with someone else already. So you saying that I need to have a conversation because she with a best friend, or she had to need a conversation with her guy that she's been with, or her husband, or whoever.
Well, she got to have a conversation.
Okay.
And her guy.
Let's back up a moment. I'm not sure, Doug, if you're referring to my trying to answer, respond to Matt, or if this is regarding Toria's question about having the opposite sex friend before marriage.
Toya's question, yeah, Toya's question.
Okay, so I hadn't gotten to Toya's question. Toya's question is like this here. I'm sorry, but this is the way life works. And if you want your relationship to work, I may have had a BFF who was of the opposite sex, which I do have some great friends. I wouldn't call them BFFs, but I have some great male friends. But at the same time, if I come into a relationship, to me, now this is just me, common sense in my head is proper alignment is that he comes first. And whatever relationship we have, it's not had, it doesn't mean that we can't be friends, but it may mean that we're not as close as we used to be. I'm not going to kick it with you like I used to be. I have a special someone in my life, and that's the honor and respect given to him. And no one else takes that spot. And if you're not ready to put a person at that place in your life, then maybe you shouldn't be marrying anyone. Because if your BFF or your friend is that important to you, you have no room. See, when you come into a relationship, when you're talking about, a lifetime or with someone, then you're making a conscious decision. You should be at that time to say that you are first in my life.
Right. Yeah, because she's your choice or he's your choice.
Exactly.
I have
all my friends.
I have a rule. If I have a female friend or a male friend, if you can't go somewhere with my wife, then we're not really close friends.
Exactly.
That's what, because like us as being NFL players, if we go to Super Bowl every year, so like if I'm at the Super Bowl going to an event, or if I don't want to go to an event and one of my homegirls there, and I'll say, yo, won't you and my wife go together? Then if they can't go together, then her and I can't be friends. You know what I'm saying? If they can't hang out like we hang out, then they can't be friends.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all in agreement that conversation has to control that relationship.
Yeah, I think, again, I think it goes back to being clear about who we are. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Either you want to be in a relationship or you don't. And if you want to be in a relationship, an intimate relationship with someone, it's on a proper that you make them number one in your life. And whatever, one of the things I talk about when I do premarital counseling, and if a person if a couple are interested in doing like a marital plan, one of the things we have in that, how do you integrate your lives? And when two people come together, they're like, this is it. Then there's an integration of your lives, your friends, as well as your things. And there has to be a conversation as to how we're going to integrate. What friends do we keep? Do we introduce to the spouse? And what friends do we cut out of this circle now?
But at the same friends that have to go. I said that earlier, that something has to go.
Some things have to change.
Which friends have to go.
Exactly. And I think two people who love each other can have a conversation about what they're comfortable with. Because remember, it's your relationship, the two people. And if you don't become like this and you allow other things and other people to get between you, your relationship is not going to be as successful, and you're probably not going to be as happy or feel that you are the person. If you're married to someone, you want to know that you are number one in their life, not their friends, not their parents and children and brothers and sisters. It's you and me first, then everyone else.
So amen. Linda, amen to what you're saying. But Linda, you have three former NFL players on here. You know what you're saying, you're the real doctor. You have 3 NFL players on here, and they're men here to answer questions. Make us answer, and so everybody can hear it from that man's perspective. You know what I'm saying?
Answering.
You know what I'm saying? See, that's what I'm saying. These questions are sometimes hard to answer, and you're saying it beautifully, but it's coming from a woman.
Well, I mean, I think you should just chime in and give your input on that, because that same thing from a man's perspective. I mean, maybe this is too political correct for some, but
for some it is. That's some things are just so touchy.
Well, I mean, and as touchy as they are, they're real. But hear from you guys. What's your thought on that?
Well, go back up in the comments. I can't wait, Red Wine. Go back up in the comments and see what what's his name has to say. I can't scroll because I'm on my wife's computer.
So I have Toy question again,
Michael.
or which one?
Who?
Okay, so Michael, I think we answered Toya's question about your BFF of the opposite sex. If you had them before you're married, basically, what do you do with them? Then Michael said, how come platonic and how some platonic and I can't read that.
I can't scroll up, so I can't see it. I knew it was a question from earlier.
I'm not sure if he said,
Michael said, "How come?
Platonic, how comes platonic and casual relationships, sexual relationships demonized these days?" Huh.
Well, he's a freak. He's a freak.
I don't know. I didn't know they were demonized. What do you all think of that?
Females say you can't do it.
I've never heard them being demonized, but
they're looked down on by some people.
Like whom? Listen, whoever's not into it, then you're not into it.
Right.
And who's ever into it, then you're into it.
Judge, you said don't judge the next person.
Listen, I'm probably one of the least judgmental people you'll ever meet. Okay.
Oh yeah.
You can't judge nobody.
I'm pro everything. If you want to do it, okay, I'm fine. If you listen, you want to have a casual relationship, I'm good with it. You want to have a wife, I'm good with it. You want to have a girlfriend and a wife on the side, I'm good with it.
Okay.
I'm good.
Hey,
because it's your life. If you're not imposing on me,
answer come from the heart, fellas. She's telling us.
But if you're not imposing on me, why should I have a problem or issue with what you're doing?
Okay, let me. Hey, Lisa.
So,
Linda,
let me see what.
You should ask us the hard question.
Okay, so
you should ask Red Wine would he want his wife or girlfriend to have a male friend, a best friend?
Okay, red wine. There you go.
And you too, Doug. Would you want your wife or your girlfriend to have a best friend, male friend?
There you go.
No. No.
Hell no.
Hell to the no.
Okay, so it's
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, we ain't sharing
Okay.
shit. We ain't sharing a damn thing.
See, that's a man. Hey, Linda, you gotta bring it up. You gotta bring it up.
Look here, if I didn't know you in college, if you my best friend, then you can come by. But outside of that, and especially when you're raising kids coming in the house, no, hell no.
okay, so it goes back to what I said. Political correct as it may sound, that's in essence what I was saying, because every man and woman need to know that they're number one. There are no best friends if we're in a relationship outside of me or and women, trust me, you guys are the only one who feel that way. Women feel the same way too. How are you going to be a best
I
friend?
agree. I was just about to address that. Linda, because I want to make it clear. There's no double standard with this.
No.
Both men and women feel the same way about this situation. You ain't gonna have
you got your boots on.
female friend
There should be a double standard.
as close to you as I am. That's not happening.
There should be double standards, but I heard of. Yeah, there should be double standards, but believe that some people go into relationships very selfishly and believe that they can have their friends and put the other person in lockdown.
It ain't. It's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Well,
listen to me.
you know what?
The one thing I know, I'm a man, and I know other men. Nobody wants to hear their woman complaining in their ear. That's the quickest way to end the relationship. In particular, when you're a former athlete, because our attention span is only 11 or 12 seconds. And that's the lifetime of a football play.
Lord.
The average football play is 12 seconds. Okay.
Wow. For real.
After 12 seconds, we're on to the next play. That's how we live our life.
Wait, that's too much time. I say 7 seconds.
Nah, it's 12 seconds. It's 12 seconds.
Because what it is, athletes, we deal with it and we handle things fast. You know what I'm saying?
Quickly.
We go in one ear and how you say it goes in the head, and then we think about it, and then we move on to the next thing because we already figured it out. So we can't stay on one thing for 15 hours.
Okay, let me explain to the audience here.
Go ahead.
Stephen and Red Wine, they offensive personnel. They're receivers. Okay, you're a defensive back. Okay, I'm a defensive lineman. I got 3 seconds to get to the quarterback, and the 4 seconds the defensive back need to shut it down. Other than that, it's 7 seconds, and we're starting to play over again. So, just to clarify, it is 7 seconds, not 12. I don't know which our defense.
12 seconds. You forgetting the ball. He got 3 seconds to throw the ball, right?
Yeah.
So he completed.
That means you must be chasing.
That
means the receiver must have caught the ball and you chasing him.
Well, you look at the average play in the 12 seconds. So
your echo is killing me. It is pretty much 7 seconds because I got 3 seconds to come off because the quarterback has to drop back, 3-step drop, and then let it go. In the next 3 seconds, I have to get open. He throws to an area. I have to go to where I know the ball's going to be. So we think so fast. Decisions are made so fast on our feet that when a problem comes to us, we figured it out just like that. We already know it. And then it's time for us to go on. We can't harp on one thing. You know, I hear it all the time. They say women nag. It's not true that they nag, and it's not true that we don't want to listen. When we hear it the first time, we already figured it out, and we're ready to move on. That's it.
You know, we hear it the first time, and especially when we know they're right, we don't want to hear it.
So can I speak on?
Because we don't have no get back because we know they right.
They're right. They're always right. Why you keep saying it? You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. We keep saying it. We know you're right. Even if we say you're right, baby. Man, it keeps coming. It keeps coming. I'm like, you're right. You're right. You're right. So,
Yeah.
we just
I always say, and I help a lot of people with understanding athletes. And the first thing I tell them, you got 10 seconds of attention. After that, we have totally shut you out and moved on to the next thing. Even with driving, we're already looking ahead. Know if we're going to go left, we're going to go right. That light's going to change. We're going to stop. We're going to make a right. We're looking ahead. That's how we're programmed. After you do something for so many years, a repetition, you program to act a certain way. And so I'm always telling spouses how to deal with their former player husband or mate. And that's the way. So it's always a thing where, hey, it comes up. Okay, you got 10 seconds. In that 10 seconds, if you don't get it resolved, you won't get it resolved that day. You'll have to revisit that. Now, here's the thing about revisiting that situation. We're not going to remember exactly what was said.
Exactly.
So you're going to have to start over with your conversation. But remember, when you start over, again, you only have 10 seconds.
And the play has changed. Everything is
changed. They're like, it's a different play. We're on to the next thing.
And that's what red wine. That's exactly what when we had a conversation last week. They always say, why does men lie so much? It's not that we lied. We figured it out last week and we said something. Then when you came back this week, the plan has changed. You know, it's different. It's different from week to week.
Well, I tell you what, it sounds a little bipolarish to me.
So listen, Linda, I can explain it to you.
But I'm just saying, and you know that how it
Corey.
sounds. And so, and I'm curious: is the expectation for women to just understand that's just how I am? Does a man recognize that these are the way? This is the way I communicate, and I recognize it's not the best way. Do they try to do better, or is it up for her to try to jump through hoops to remember and track and know when I got 10 seconds to relay something, and if I don't get it resolved this week, next week I'm going to have 10 seconds to tell you again. So at what point do we have a discussion?
So let me answer that. I'm going to answer that. I can answer that. So here you go. First thing you have to do is understand who you're dealing with. Okay, if you're dealing with a former player, this is how we are. This is how we come. We're programmed. We communicate differently on the field. And so what we have to do is once we stop playing, we have to actually learn to re-communicate again. Okay? Because the way we communicate on the field and the way we resolve issues on the field, it happens like this. And sometimes we're a little bit aggressive and in our communication. And so what happens is we have to learn to communicate a style off the field, okay?
Okay.
To maintain the relationship.
Okay.
But the biggest part of that is understanding who you're dealing with, okay? Now we're going to do our work in order to help you understand who we are, but we're mainly saying, listen, you ought to know me by now. You should know who I am. You should know how I operate. But most of the time, our spouses don't. So I'm helping you all understand if you're dealing with a former player, this is what you're going to have to deal with. And so you need to get those things and come with a solution and you need to come with your issue and some suggestions within that 10-second span, because after that, you've lost us.
Okay, so let's
one thing on that, what Red One just mentioned, is that it's sad to say, it's a lot of guys, non-professional or professional, truly hasn't figured it out yet how to mask and communicate. It can be from your collegiate, from your high school, playing sports, head trauma, still trying to figure things out. And still learning, and a lot of players still learning themselves after 10, 15 years later down the road, because they've been so conditioned, and that's pretty much why they lean on on a friend that they knew, that they trust, growing up, from the journey that they went to where they are.
Right.
Okay.
So at the end of the day,
let's
at the end of the
engage the
day,
audience a
we
little
must we have to listen to one another and get to know one another. You know, Linda, I'm gonna listen to you, and I'm gonna let it soak in, and after a while, I'm gonna know you, and I'm gonna bend the way I want to bend, and I think I should bend towards you. But you have to do the same thing to me.
Okay.
You know, it's
But it takes them a lot longer, Stephen.
Okay.
It takes a lot longer for your mate to understand you, because we've been trained to learn our opponent quickly because we studied tendencies, we review tape, and when we get on the field, we've seen it. So we've already prepared mentally, right? And through repetition to learn our opponent. So we can learn our mate the same way. The only issue is they don't learn us as quickly as we learn them. And so you got to develop patience, because in the game, everything happens so quickly. Outside of that game, they don't play the game that we play. They're not programmed like we are. So we got to learn patience in order to deal with that. Now, he'll say this here.
Okay.
And I'm going to say this one thing and I'm done.
Okay, excuse me one moment. I'm going to have to break you guys because we're going on, and that is 10:46. And we have a whole
my goodness.
Oh my God, we're missing all the questions.
Okay? so I'm sorry, but got to call time. And this is good. I think we need to have a talk on just communication, because this is really good, although away from our topic a little bit here. So let me see if I can kind of engage our audience by going back to some of the comments that were made. Derek is from Houston. He's saying, hey to everybody. Oh, Anna, Fontana made a comment earlier that if your friend is a real friend, that person needs to understand that once you are in a relationship, there's some boundaries. There are boundaries and limitations.
I agree.
And they have to be established in the friendship. And if he or she, of course, loves you, or she loves him, they have to respect that, and that comes from a place of love. So we have to do that. And Marlene said, everyone, I hate when I'm told we just friends. Marlene?
I love you, Marlene. That's my baby mama.
Hey,
Marlene
talk to her in love.
What she's referred to as a friend. And Marlene, and that's why I said, as the female, put the lock on it until he tells you what it is, until he can classify you more than being a friend.
That's it.
That's how I gotta look, Marlene. You gotta keep it like this here. Not like this, like this. Not like this, but like this.
Yeah. And let's see what else we have. Fontana also said friends don't play marriage games. Establish the boundaries with from the gate, and that's very true. We shouldn't be playing games. Either you, as I say, you either want in or you want out. If you want to be married, then as I tell people, act married before you say I do. You don't wait until
Betty Hart. Betty Hart has a question. She said, "Why does it take a man so long to grow up?" Rocket?
No, just forget the rocket. I'm sorry.
What?
She said rocket is a typo. I understand.
Oh, okay, to grow up. But she says to stop playing games. And listen, a man will do what you allow him to do.
Only what you allow him to do.
Only what you allow him to do. If you tolerate it, he's gonna continue to do it. Exactly. I think you have to, but all of this comes back to conversations. Listen, this offends me. I have an issue with what you're doing. And so if he cares about you, he'll change it. If he doesn't, we're just friends.
Exactly.
I hate to say that. We're just friends.
And so for all your ladies who are tired of being classified as just friends, you know what to do, okay?
Bounce.
Have a conversation and hold your ground.
And bounce before that. If a guy tells you we just friends and we just want to kick it, I am very clear.
The thing is,
friends,
show him.
You don't owe me anything. I don't owe you anything. We're just that. Okay.
Ladies, hold your ground.
Ladies, hold your ground and show him that you're just friends. Believe me, he will come running to you.
Okay.
He will.
So you hear that, you ladies hear that? Don't bow. If you stick to what you say it is. Like if you put a boundary in place, you're your own law keeper, and if you don't keep your law, then no one else is going to keep it. You instituted the law, and you have to implement it, and you must maintain it, because if you don't, then guess what? You let your guards down, and then you get probably disappointed.
Well, here's the thing. They got to make sure that their laws are not state laws, but they're federal laws, because federal laws supersede state laws.
For real though. For real though. Hey, make that man, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to say it again. Make that man respect you. I always said, women, you have all the control. Soon as he start disrespecting you and saying things that you don't like, let him know. As much as if you continue letting him get away with things, he gonna do more. It's like kids. If you don't check them right now, they gonna keep doing it, and they gonna test you. I ain't saying it's a game, but men gonna test you and see how far they can go. So respect yourself and make them respect you. So, hey, Melody had a couple of things up. I can't scroll up, but what did she say? She had some couple.
Melody, she said, let me do something with Marlene. Marlene talked about respect one another, which is, the hallmark of a relationship. Marlene also said you have to respect that friend's marriage, and you don't cross the line. True. Melody says not hard to answer, come from the heart. Okay, so some of these things.
Tell us the answer from the heart, guys.
Yeah, answer from the heart. It's not hard. It's not hard to be truthful about what you want. And guys, this is what I would say. And I know you guys get this question. A woman is not trying to pin you down and make you commit because she asks you what you want. She just needs to know what you want from her, what type of relationship you want. And for some reason, that's like pulling nails from cement to get a guy to say what it is he wants. If she's asking that question, she's trying to define, put some definition to this relationship. You're saying you're friends, but at the same time, she's digging you. She likes you. And when she's asking what you want, don't just holler, we're just friends. But woman, if he is, then you know what you need to do. But I think, guys, you all can answer the question, but I think you guys can be a little clear about by telling her what you really want.
But Linda, actions speak louder than words. Okay. So if you're telling me one thing, but your actions are different, okay, we're gonna take advantage of that. Okay. I'm not a take advantage of type guy. I have restraint. Okay?
No, I don't believe that, Red Wine.
Hey, because listen, I believe in karma. I believe in karma, and I believe if you do it, you get it back. Okay.
Hey, Red Wine,
you put out good, you get good. You put out bad, you get bad. Keep putting out good.
True. So that's true. That's true. It does come back. And Red Wine is saying he doesn't do that. But I'm going to tell you, you make a really good point, because I've heard guys say the same thing. Male friends of mine start out in a relationship, just trying to be her friend. Then eventually, if he doesn't make that pass on her, he doesn't, come that way. She's like, well, what's wrong with him? He hasn't tried to kiss me. He hasn't tried to do anything yet. So this thing, if you're telling a guy, ladies, if you're telling a guy that you're just friends, then you have to, again, allow your actions to speak louder than your words.
Yes.
Because in most cases, if you come on, they're going to accept, but they did not change their mind about just being friends.
Yeah.
So, you gotta speak. So I do believe that. And you're right, Doug, right. Karma is out there, and I think everyone should be mindful of whatever their behaviors are, because what goes out, or what goes around comes around. Okay, so what else do we have?
Michael says, Mike says he has had sex with 95% of my female friends. He said that's a fact.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
He has no restraint. He has no restraint.
You're a whore. But again, you're a whore. You're a male whore.
But you know what? At the same time,
he has a high sex drive.
But think about it. Just I know the numbers are high, but the question
Michael is trying to find himself.
But let's just go back to what is it we're really calling friends. I think people really need to be clear about what they mean about just
Now
being
that
friends.
I agree with.
Yeah, friend, and because if you're saying with your friend, okay, guy like Michael said, okay, if you bring the invitation, I'm accepting it, and I'm still your friend. It did not change your status at all. So be firm and clear about who you are, mean what you say.
But Linda, you said something last week about how women bodies in their minds react to sex, intercourse, right? There's what's it called in the brain?
Yes, it's called oxytocin.
Oxytocin. So oxytocin is released. It's not released in men, it's released in women.
In the woman, exactly.
Right. And so the women react differently to sex. What a man can say, yeah, okay, well, you gave me an invitation, but I'm still your friend. But they're saying, yeah, but I gave you this invitation because I want us to go further. I want us to be in a different space. And so I think there has to be some understanding there. The understanding has to be very, very clear. And I think what we're missing is there's not effective communication.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of communication and self-control.
Oh.
So okay, you haven't had sex on a while.
And maturity.
It's for someone. But does it mean you break your own rule, your own law? Or are you
make sure you're the federal government, not the state and local laws. Make sure you're the federal government, okay?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a combination of things. And whatever happens, it's a mutual. Unless someone is just outright lying to you, that's one thing. Using deception, that's one thing. But if that's not the case, male or female, if you find yourself in that situation where you cross the lines of intimacy with a friend and they still want to maintain a friendship status and you're hooked in other ways, you have to take responsibility for that, and, just get it together. Some people can't have close friends or male friends. That's something else that needs to be talked about. Some people can't manage friendships of the opposite sex. And if you are one of those people, you need to know that about yourself. If you have difficulty managing.
I was about to say that it was a managing issue. If you can't manage, first of all, if you're having trouble managing your relationship, you don't need to bring something else into that to create additional concern. Manage what you have. Don't add more pressure or more work to your already difficult job.
Right.
Listen, my phrase is all the time: stay focused. Stay focused. Deal with one thing at a time.
And what else? And keep your head on a swivel.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. And accountability.
So we have 2 minutes left. So what are some benefits to platonic relationships if managed properly? Number one, they can reduce stress. Being in a strong platonic relationships allows people to have someone else to go to when they are facing issues in their lives. 2, it increases feelings of support. Having a plethora of love and support in your life can have important physical and mental benefits for you. Improve conversational skills. I hope it's improving your communication skill, which means communication skills are always important in any type of relationship. And with the more platonic relationships that you form, the better you can become learning to voice your feelings and to listen to the feelings of others. It will increase your skills in your intimate relationships. 4, you get a sense of belonging to have friends. No one wants to be alone or feel alone and not have anyone to talk to. And I will say it's great to have a male friend that you can talk to or a female friend that you can talk to. I mean, it's just clear. Just a friend that you can talk to. You can, be true about what you're thinking, what you feel. You can bounce it off the opposite sex and they give you directions or guidance or, thoughts from a different perspective. So that's a great benefit there to having friends of a platonic relationship. But at any rate, our time is almost up.
Our time is up. Let's go ahead.
One thing. Ladies, watch the signals that you're giving out to your platonic friends, to any man. Watch your signals. Watch your signals.
That's an old conversation on its own. The way they dress and the way they go out dressed.
Watch the signals that you're giving out.
Go ahead, Mr. Holly, introduce yourself. I mean, tell them who you are and who you play for, because we got to get out of here.
Well, I'm just an old smooth guy. That's like to judge, but I played up in Seattle, one of the greatest teams on the side of heaven. I'm here in the Bay Area. I'm always willing and willing to assist this station here. It's good, healthy conversation to help individuals along the way.
Yeah.
Go. And you got the mic right.
Okay.
I didn't hear you.
You're going to have to get your mic right.
Yeah, I get it right next round.
All right.
Okay.
Red wine.
AKA 2-3, Green Bay Packers, America's team. We created what's called the Super Bowl. We were called Title Town. We'll be facing the 49ers this weekend. I need you all to tune in and root for my man Aaron Rodgers and the rest of the Green Bay Packers. My salute to you. We love you. And I say, cheese to everybody.
And my beautiful co-host.
Good evening, everyone, and good night. This is Linda Streater again, your love and relationship matters coach and counselor, as well as author. It's always my pleasure to share with you guys. And I realized there were a lot of comments we didn't refer to tonight, but I'm getting a little bit more settled in my new environment. So maybe I'll get an opportunity this week to kind of respond to some of your comments. But at any rate, as always, it's a pleasure to be with you. Have yourself a great evening and weekend.
All right.
Healthy relationships.
And I am Stephen Pierce, the Doctor of Love, former wide receiver of the Cleveland Browns, baby, the original dog pound. And yes, we are the OG team. So we want to thank y'all for coming out. We love y'all. And this is the only station, this is the only channel you can get answers from a man's perspective. So I want to thank you guys all, Red Wine and my beautiful co-host Linda. We're gonna get it together.
Love you, Linda.
Love you
too, baby.
So we're gonna be talking to y'all soon. So we're out. We're 3 minutes over. You guys see you guys next Friday, 7
God
p.m.
bless.
time. God bless you all.
You all.
Later.
Red wine.
Red wine. How do I get rid of this thing? Don't go nowhere yet. I gotta exit. I'm on somebody else's computer. Here we go. In broadcast.
Okay.
In broadcast.